So the next day I called up Rebbetzin to thank her in the name of the children for the dreidels and the candies. And so she starts like to apologize to me. And so my husband, I didn't want to hear such a thing. You know? So I told her that since you tell me this, I'd like to share something with you. I said on our way home, my wife asked the children how they like to visit. And my daughter said, it's better they should be together 1 minute earlier than we should come in to speak. And I said, whoa, you know. So Rebbetzin said, auf welche Tochter das?
I'm Yossi Kamen. Welcome to Among Chassidim by Der Herr, an ongoing farbrengen about life as a chassid, our vibrant connection with the Rebbe, and inspired living shaped by the way he teaches us each and every day. Shalom Aleichem, Rabbi Clapman, how are you?
Aleichem Shalom, Baruch Hashem, it's good to be here today.
Okay, I'm very excited.
Before we start, I'd like to give a shout out of HaKodesh HaTeif to all the Bachim, the Goyim Tzom all the time. They give up from their own time. And by name is my Yenikol. His name is Yisrael Yosef HaKayin Ben Tvedlei. He needs it for Shleim at the moment. And also to all the girls who are involved in Rebbetzin and their Inyanim.
Okay, Shabbat for Shleima, B'seich Klal Yisrael.
Amen.
Okay, so let me ask you about yourself. And I would like to know a little bit about you. I understand that...
I'm still trying to find out a little about me also.
Okay, maybe we'll find out together. But I think you were... I understand that you were born... We're in Crown Heights right now, and you were born not too far from here. Is that correct?
I was born in Bedford-Stuyvesant. That's on a few blocks on the north side of Eastern Parkway. And when I was 4, we moved to downtown to Church Avenue, which is now already becoming a haven for Lubavitch Chassidim, moving there and all the whole East Flatbush.
East Flatbush.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. I went to Yeshiva on East 91st Street. The building is still there. Unfortunately, it's not in Jewish hands at the moment. And that was my
Which yeshiva is that?
The name of it, Yeshiva by David Leibowitz. It was a Brooklyn branch of the Yeshiva Chafetz Chaim, a Masifta in Queens. They had a branch in Manhattan, in the Bronx. I think it was called something, Moshe or something. And then the Brooklyn branch was where I went.
So growing up, there was no recognizable connection to Lubavitch that your family had?
Well, when I was about 7 or 8, predominantly I'm talking about the Shmuel Butman, Sholem Ber Butman. Shmuel was a brother who passed away a year ago approximately. And he used to come to the shul where we davened, and it was called technically Avasachim, more commonly known as Rabbi Barenholzer Shul. A delegation of Chassidim used to come to make the Hakofis lively.
Talucha.
The Talucha. And
what years? So this is like
in the 50s.
50s, okay.
And one particular chassid, I mentioned by name, Sholem Ber Butman, he used to jump on my father every time. You have to come to Ebbez HaKofis, you have to come to Ebbez HaKofis. And finally, one year wasn't going to take no for an answer. And he grabbed my father and told, go home, eat through this yontif, relax, whatever you want to do. It goes all night, but some point in the evening you have to come. And that year my father took me, maybe I was 8 years old or something like that. I don't know, because I remember exactly. And that was when I saw Rebbe for the first time. And like they say in the world of romantics, that was love at first sight. I was in 770 before because my mother was the office lady in the yeshiva and they needed a play. The Kahos printed, it was Hanukkah play or Purim play, maybe both. And the yeshiva needed it for the boys to be able to put on the play. I was traveling on public transportation since I was 4 and a half. So to come to 770 when I was 6, it was no big deal. It was already I was a very cultured traveler already. But then I didn't see that by that time, and that happened on Simchas Torah.
She sent you to get the book from the Americas, 770.
So I came 770. But
so that first time was in the Yuds, approximately, that you came for Hakafis to see the Rebbe.
Yeah.
And you remember that vividly?
Oh, yeah.
Can you describe it a little bit?
I just saw a sea of black. But I saw the Rebbe, and somehow, I guess you can say, one neshama touching another with no peripherals around it. I didn't know then all the things the Rebbe did. I didn't know about all the other Farbrengens. I didn't know about Lekach. I didn't know about those things. I just knew this is the Rebbe. And it was such a pull attraction that I kept coming back. And slowly I learned about all the other things, the Farbrengens on Yom Tovim, and etc.
So while you're learning in your yeshiva, you somehow on your own started attending 770 more regularly and Fabrengens, etc.
Yeah. Well, the Fabrengens came later because I didn't know about them originally.
So what happened? How did this come from a one-time coming to Hakafas to becoming more often?
Well, it was every Simchas Torah. That happened 2 or 3 years, and then I found out, let's say, Purim, exactly how each thing fell into place. I remember exactly, which years this happened or that happened, but it was over a process of time that I found out the whole picture.
Wow. And you ended up going to Yechidus during that time?
No, Yechidus I didn't go to till I was 17.
So how did that happen? How was that arranged?
By that time already, I was when I went to high school, I went to Mir Yeshiva.
In Brooklyn?
Yeah. And my parents wanted us to get an English education because my father had shredded panos. If you all go to high school, and so I went there. But already, even in 9th grade already, I was bold for Fabrengens and...
So you're already very entrenched with Lubavitch while you're in the Mir high school.
I paid the price for it also.
What do you mean?
But I don't want to get into it. They didn't see eye to eye with Lubavitch, and I was the the guy in the middle.
You're the Lubavitch representative in Mir.
Yeah, there was 1 or 2 others, like Galowinski, there were a few, but I had my share of interesting or non-interesting events there.
So were there other people in Lubavitch that you were in touch with that were helping you along the way?
Yeah.
It's like Bachrim and different people like that?
Bachrim, I knew Avram Stone, so sein gesund, and Rabbi Galitsky, Rabbi Elia Gross, who was very close with Rebbe's mother. He was a big influence in my life.
You just met them in 770?
Rabbi Gross I met in the country once, and I became part of the family by him. And he was the one that slowly built me up into understanding more, about the Lubavitch and Rebbe's activities, so to speak.
So you would come from East Flatbush, and then you had, besides 770, you had
in those days, to walk to 770, you used to go through the hospital, through Kings County. And they passed the rule that they weren't going to allow children to go through the buildings without adult supervision.
You would walk in the hospital?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was one in the gate and around the perimeter of the hospital. There was a wrought iron gate, must be 8 feet tall or something, but 1 bar was missing. In those days, I was a skinny kid, so I was able to get through that bar. So I didn't have to walk all around Albany Avenue because we lived on 38th Street, which is opposite Kingston Avenue. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to walk around because I was able to get through the bars. The bar missing left enough room for me to get through. And he used to come all the time.
Was there anyone else from East Flatbush walking with you, or you would go yourself?
There were a lot of people that worked from East Flatbush, but they were further towards the 50s, like Rabbi Hecht and Rabbi Bucket. And
different areas.
So, yeah.
So what happened by your first Yechidus?
The first Yechidus asked many questions. Deb was very kindly and very soothing. And they asked a few questions, and Debbie answered. One they asked about putting on the Benu Tam Tefillin, and Debbie gave me 2 conditions to fulfill before I started. And then I asked about we daven Nusach Sfard, but I wanted to daven Nusach Ari, so I asked Debbie if I can change. And Debbie told me that from Ashkenaz to Sfard you can change, or from Sfard to Nusach Ari you can change, but you can't change from anything back from Nusach Ari. So therefore, Debbie told me that you should make sure for sure, decide that this is when you do it for your whole life. And then if that decision will be made, then you can change. Next morning I changed it already. But actually, by the time I asked Debbie, all those things I didn't have to do with Shachas Mincha Mav, Daven Nusach Ari already anyway, benching and Kriyash Mashal Amita. Once Debbie gave the go-ahead, so the next morning already I changed.
And you asked about the Limud HaChayil also?
No, that came later on.
So what was that?
In a different Yechidus, I told them I have to get out of Mir Yeshiva. It was like it was just how to get out.
You want to go to Lubavitch?
Yeah. So then Debbie told me, I don't know if you could switch in the middle. It was an Adar that went in Yechidus from my Yemuledis, which is a B'Shchedesh Adar. So Debbie told me, I don't know if you could switch in the middle, and it came out of how to stay.
You had to stay in Mir?
Yeah.
Till the end of the school year?
Yeah, that was already in 12th. I didn't bring it up again.
What do you mean?
But I didn't go to English too much anyway. I had Chavrus in 770 in the afternoon that I used to come to most of the time, or quite a bit of time. And as much as I was able to get out of English, I came to 770.
So how did you make the switch to Lubavitch?
In 12th grade, when I went into Yechidus, so Deborah told me, before anything, Deborah told me I should make sure I graduate. Make sure I graduate. That was a heavy load because I hardly went to English too much. I go make up, and then 3 months, go make up so much studies. Then Deborah said, make sure I graduate. And then Deborah told me that since my parents agreed that I should be able to learn for 1 year before they wanted I should go to college, so Deborah said that was like a beautiful opening for Deborah. She said, good, wonderful. Now you have that year, so you'll learn Torah that year, b'shkidu v'asmada, putting in much diligence and effort, and your parents will see you happy learning Torah. And then they have kol hayam kulei the whole day long. They'll tell you that you should continue. And sure enough, I remember that one Friday my father was buttoning his shirt, changing for Shabbos, was buttoning down the Shabbos shirt. And we were home from the work that Shabbos, and all of a sudden my father told me that Mommy and I see that you're happy learning Torah the whole day long, so you should continue. Exactly the word that Deborah used.
Yeah. Without you ever telling him, obviously. You never told him that Deborah said that. Yeah.
So I asked Deborah which yeshiva to go to. So Deborah boiled it down between Montreal and Newark. Newark was the forerunner to Morristown. And Deborah told me I should go check out Montreal and see how I feel about it. And then Deborah switched gears and said, but it's so much time to travel there and it costs so much money. Why should you spend the time to go there? You wait, Dan Hull will be here soon for Farbrengen, whether it was in Chofov or Yubistam, whichever one Deborah mentioned. So you'll speak to them when they're here. Then Deborah said, Newark is much closer. It's not too much time to travel there. It doesn't cost too much money. You should go check out Newark. I already understood what the Rebbe meant.
So you didn't even need to meet Dan Hull?
Maybe I spoke a word or two to him, I remember, but went to Newark was, I really liked it. When I went like in June to check it out, I couldn't wait for the next month to start. So I should be in yeshiva there already. So
in Newark there was, who's Dan Hull in Newark then?
Dan Hull from Slangern, the passed away as young people, was Rabbi Melech Tzribel. He was the Mashpia. And Rabbi Sal Friedman was the Shiva. Later he came to Morristown, to Oli Torah. And Slangern, Nachum Sternberg was the Mashgiach in Zal.
And when you're in Newark already, I imagine that they're coming every Shabbos Mevarchim to the ring and everything like that.
But by that time I knew all those things already anyway.
You're already in?
Yeah. But I was able to actually come with no problems, Of course, we made that whole crazy when there was a Suffolk Farbrengen, and we tried to day a cup that we should be able to come in, and that's at a different time.
You're saying because that was a Suffolk?
Yeah. The Vadei Farbrengens we came. It was all the Suffolk Farbrengens that...
like when?
Huh?
Like when?
Usually, for example, Yud Shvat, it comes out on Shabbos, there's a Farbrengen, but if it's not on Shabbos, I'm all nicht. At least as far as my...
like the Shabbos before or afterwards?
Yeah, so there were certain Farbrengens that...
So sometimes you would come and there would be...
say, we heard there'd be somebody in Yechidus, maybe you could say for Shabbos, that must be a Suffolk Farbrengen. Boys will be boys,
Then Hull wasn't too fond of that. Uh-huh. And so when you were so you're there for a year. How long did you stay in Newark?
I stayed in Newark, had a lot of trouble in Newark. First of all, at that time my Yiddish was very schwach, and Melech Tzribel didn't speak English, and Rebbe Friedman didn't speak English. So it was very hard for me to get along. I had trouble getting a chavrusa because I had nothing to contribute to the chavrusa shaf. I couldn't understand the shir, so I had no input. And when I went in...
You Yechidus with the Rabbi spoke in English?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The first time I went in, the Rebbe asked me at the end, when the Rebbe read my whole short novel, because it was so many pages, the Rebbe asked me in English, you don't speak Yiddish too well, do you? And I said, no, not too well. So the Rebbe spoke in English. The next year, the Rebbe asked me, "Du verstehst Yiddish?" So I said, "A bissel." So the Rebbe spoke in English. The next year, I figured, well, since the Rebbe asked a question in Yiddish, he's not going to ask any questions, just speaking Yiddish now. So from that time on, I wrote at the end of the zettel, I asked the Rebbe to please speak in English.
And your zettel, you wrote in English?
At the end of the zettel.
But in general, you wrote it in English, the zettel?
Yeah.
So She asked the Rebbe to speak
Please speak in English.
and the Rebbe did.
Yeah, except when we got married, one year Deborah started speaking in Yiddish.
By the Chiddush for your chasana.
After the chasana.
Oh, afterwards.
And my wife and I, to the corner of peripheral vision, just not even really turning around, just making eye contact. And my wife didn't understand. She how Yiddish was schwach. At that time, my Yiddish was okay, but so when Deborah paused and I asked Deborah to please speak in English, Deborah started over from the very beginning. That was getting off course. I forgot what I was supposed to be answering.
You're talking about Morristown and...
so I had a lot of difficulty.
In Newark, sorry.
I had a lot of difficulty in Newark. And I told it to Deborah, so I asked Deborah about switching. So Deborah wasn't for next year. Deborah wasn't interested in discussing next year because from Adar to Cheshvan is a half a year.
But what does it help to switch? Where are you going to go?
I didn't want to go back to Newark next year, so I was asking Deborah for next year where I should go.
But the other yeshivas are better with English?
I just had it over there.
Okay.
So Debbie didn't agree to just start, just disconnect from 6 months. So Debbie told me you should go to Ranhola. There's a lesson for everybody. Debbie told me you should go to Ranhola and you speak to them one time, a second time, a third time, or as many times as necessary until they'll give you a chavrusa. So in other words, to get a chavrusa, which is very hard for many young people to adjust to finding a chavrusa and a proper one and everything, is very difficult. And Ranhola has to mix in. Debbie said it's their job, and you should keep complaining. You should say, Debbie said, keep bugging them until it works. So it got a little better after that. And the next year, I went to Kfar Chabad.
So your Yiddish problem didn't resolve?
No, yeah, well, really, I was ready for the blows.
Yeah. So in Kfar Chabad, what you're talking about, the late Chafs?
Yeah.
So it's still B'Shem B'chaim?
Yeah.
Was Mashpia?
I learned by him. I mean, I should say he taught them.
And that was a common thing for the Bachrim to go to Kfar Chabad?
And we had a lot of the Americans there at that time.
And you were there for a while? For 1 year?
1 year. Then I came back after, by El, I came back. And then I learned 770. And then
So you learned to 770?
I got married.
And you got married in?
Tafshan
Lamed. So you're Newark, Kfar Chabad, 770, till you got married. I know you're a Sefer. When did that happen?
When I was 17, I told the Rebbe, the Zirkins moved into East Flatbush in Cheshvan time. So I started learning a week after he moved in. I started learning by him. By El, I didn't ask the Rebbe about it though. When it came Adar, I went into Yechidus. So I told the Rebbe I started learning Rabbi Zirkin. I asked the Rebbe if I should continue. So the Rebbe told me, if he'll tell you that you're matzliach, until now you should continue until you're a good sefer scribe. Until you're a good sefer scribe. Yeah, the Rebbe said in Hebrew, but because that word in Hebrew, he translated it in English. He said, until you're a good sefer scribe. I'm still waiting for it to happen, but...
You've been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
So Rabbi Zirkin in East Flatbush taught you Safras and everything.
Yeah. For that, I give thanks to 3 people. One is that when I was about 5 years old, in Shul Shabbos morning once was my father. So when they took out the Sefer Torah, brought the Sefer Torah Beeman, they have to roll to the Kriya of that day. So my father was not one of the 2 that was doing the Glila to roll the Sefer Torah to the proper portion for the day, but nonetheless he grabbed me by the wrist, brought me up to the beam and showed me all those amudim that are going by so quickly from one side to the other. Each column is written by hand and together, with each column, each line, each letter. And I was amazed. It looked so perfect. How could it be? I was only 5 or 6 years old. I said, this I have to see. And I don't know how much more my father told me, but that was the seed planted. Mm-hmm. And then I did try in high school. I was friendly with a young bacher whose father was a sefer in East Flatbush, but his father wasn't interested in teaching me. When the Zirkins moved into the neighborhood, so Rabbi Zirkin started teaching me. And then later on, he felt that he couldn't give me enough shimush, enough practical experience in tefillin, so he arranged I should learn by Rabbi Matlin, which I was by him for 2 years.
Rabbi Matlin, the Sefer.
Yeah, and just to explain what shimush is to get practical hands-on experience. Today, many people, they learn by some Beer Sefer, and the master, so to speak, shows you 2-3 times how to sew a pair of tefillin, and he's out trying to drum up customers for bigger things. Rabbi Matlin saw every single thing I did for 2 years, and he was sitting closer to me than I'm sitting to you. And I like to say, if he was any closer, I'd have sewn his eyeballs up into the tefillin. But it's not much of an exaggeration. And we were literally shoulder by shoulder, and he watched everything for 2 years. That's what you're giving somebody shimish. You're watching him and guiding him. It's not a question if you're a fast learner or a slow learner. There's certain things that come about through the experience of time. Mm-hmm. And many of the young people going in today don't have that because they just learned by somebody, learn how to write a bunch of letters and they're nice calligraphers, but they didn't learn all the aspects of Safras. And even what they did learn, they don't have enough shimish in it.
Right. And Rabbi Matlin also, I mean, he was local. He was like the in-house sefer in Lubavitch at the time.
Well, Rabbi Matlin, when I worked by him, I worked for him at night, but I didn't want to give up being a bocher in yeshiva. So Dan Holla had to make an exception that I should be able to be by him and still be considered a bocher in yeshiva.
So this is why you were learning in 770?
Yeah. And at the same time, I tried getting out Rebbe stories from him, which he wasn't a very big talker about what he saw by the Rebbe.
What do you mean? Like, what was he involved in? Rabbi Matlin?
He checked Rebbe's film
and
mezuzahs. So I was interested in hearing, what it was all about. He spoke very little. But
so what did he tell you?
One thing he told me, Rebbe asked him to check many pairs of film.
For other people?
No, he's talking about his own film, Rebbe. He said he wanted Rebbe he should check Rebbe's film.
Oh, they should yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he told the Rebbe, this I didn't make notes of, so I can't say I'm 100% accurate. He told the Rebbe that I don't want company. The company is the Bochrim. No matter how you'll try to doctor it up and package it and everything, and Rabbi Gron will bring it out, Rabbi Chad, whatever you do, the Bochrim are going to find out about it. So he said, I don't want company. So Rebbe said, so you could do it here. So he put a small table in Rebbe's room, facing Eastern Parkway, and he said, what was Rebbe doing? So he told me, Rebbe called me to check his film, not to check him. I don't know, Rebbe was doing what he was supposed to do. I don't know, I wasn't watching the film. Then he told me that he checked, I don't know if he mentioned the number, he checked some pairs of film, 2, 3, whatever it was. He couldn't sit there.
You mean because Rebbe has 4 pairs of film? Rebbe wore 4 pairs
I don't
of film?
know, he said a lot. I don't know if it was 4 or 6 or 10. Or
What do you mean?
He had other film and other parshas there also.
Rebbe had other tefillin besides his own that he used every day?
I didn't say he used these 4 every day either.
You
I
don't
don't
know
know what he did. I just know what he had.
Rebbe had a lot of pairs of tefillin.
Yeah. And sets of parshas. And he got up to leave. He wasn't just formally say goodbye. He just got up to leave. So Rebbe stopped and asked him, how much I owe you? So he said, I didn't finish. So he said, but what I want to pay we did? So he said, a worker gets paid at the end of the job. So Rebbe told him that if I don't pay you for what you did till now, I won't wear these till tomorrow. And since I want to wear them, you should please tell me so I can pay you for what you did till now. You'll do the other, get paid for that too. So Rebbe insisted on paying before he put them back on.
Did he tell you anything about like the Rebbe's parshas or the Ksav or anything interesting like that?
No. He did tell me that he wanted Rebbe to take a look at a certain letter. He didn't tell me what was disturbing him. He didn't tell me which letter. He just told me a blank thing. He wanted to show Rebbe something. So he turned around. Rebbe was sitting by his desk, and he went over, and he just stood there waiting for Rebbe to acknowledge him. So he told the Rebbe that I would like the Rebbe to look at this parsha. So Rebbe asked him, are they kosher the way they are? So if Rebbe could just take a look at them, he said, I'm asking a very pointed question, are they kosher the way they are? So he said yes, so sewed them up. He wasn't interested in don't make it better in the chatchila, muhud, the kol, that didn't go for that. They're kosher, they sewed them up.
Interesting. Rabbi Matlin he was from Russia?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know much about him, okay. He also did, I think Mashiach Sefer Torah also was the one that finished it, right?
Yeah. He didn't finish. He checked it before it was ready for the exam.
He didn't finish it, but he's the one that was. He was the sefer.
Him and Rabbi Zirkin. Rabbi Zirkin checked the Sefer Torah by night, and Rabbi Matlin by day.
See, after the Siyum.
No, before the Siyum.
You're saying so,
When the Rebbe wanted to get the Sefer ready for it, it wasn't looked at for like 28 years.
but it was finished already.
Except for the last word or two, whatever.
So they're the ones that finished it off.
They're the ones that checked it to make sure that everything's still in good order. And then somebody else was the one that actually penned in the list letters.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're in 770. In general, I have a question. How was it for you? I mean, you came from a different background, but you're thrown into Newark and Chabad. And
I wasn't thrown in. I wasn't sold in. I was sent.
So you were happy. It was good.
Yeah.
It was the right thing to be.
Yeah.
What was like the adjustments that needed to happen?
Nothing.
You were right at home. Okay, perfect.
Then at one time, Rabbi Zirkin wanted us to get more experience in Sefer Torah. So he arranged with somebody on the east side that I should be able to work on Sefer Torah. So I came to Ran Hole and I told him that Rabbi Zirkin wants I should get more experience in Sefer Torah, but I don't want to give up being a Bach in Yeshiva. So he said, we can't answer right now. Did extensive research into the person that Tomchei Tmim should want to vouch for that guy's integrity. When they came to that conclusion that he's an Elch Yid and everything, then they said, okay, I can go. Because I was already getting married. I knew what I wanted to do. So I was able to get experience in Sefer Torah over there. And by night by Rabbi Matlin.
So you got married in Tafshan Lamed. And had Yechidus before the Chasana. Your parents were in Yechidus then also?
Yeah.
Is there anything from that Yechidus that you want to share in particular? Or in general?
It was something very interesting. The whole family went in, and from my wife's side, also some people went in, and everybody gave it settle. Except for my father and I, everybody else writes hieroglyphics. It's completely illegible.
Mm-hmm.
And Rebbe took all the zettlach, and then he asked my father two things. First, he asked my father, where is the youngest son? He never saw the family together. When I was from Lubavitch and Mishpacha, Rebbe looked around, he asked, well, where is the younger brother? Where's the younger son? So my father told the Rebbe, he's in yeshiva. So my mother said, you should tell the Rebbe why. My father said that he's coming into Yechidus in another, whatever it was, a week and a half. He said, he didn't think Rabbi Groner would let him in twice in 1 week. So he chose to go in by,
Your family had been in Yechidus before?
No, that was the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And then they asked my father, very interestingly, you take a look what's doing by people's Shabbos table. My sister didn't know protocol or what would be correct, so she gave her settle to my father to give in. He didn't know if it would take from a lady. So Deborah looked at my friend and said, how come your daughter made you a shliach? Deborah felt it was a breach in honoring one's parents, to ask your parents to do something for you. She said that, how come your daughter made you a shliach? And
Did Rebbe explain that? Said that explicitly?
What?
That it's a breach in
he said that it's a kibbut avim. How did your daughter make you a shliach?
I should tell that to my kids.
Huh? I said, you see, but can you pass the soda? Get up and get it yourself, you know?
Uh-huh.
I think I'm the only one that I don't just ask anybody to pay. Once I get up and get it, somebody's sitting in there, what are you bothering them for?
Right. And then the Rebbe...
So then Rebbe spoke to my father in Yiddish. Sat Yechidus was in Yiddish. And I didn't have the gumption or I just couldn't ask Rebbe to change languages.
So at that point, it was still difficult to understand.
No. But it was major difference for other people.
For other people, so okay.
But there was a few interesting things there. The first thing is, when I say about everybody else was hieroglyphics except for my father and I, my Yom Haledes was a week later. So we made up that everybody would go in together, and then eventually everybody would go out, and I would stay another minute. Deb was watching the door. As they were going out, Deb didn't take his eyes off the family and the door. As soon as the door closed, Deb grabbed glasses to put on to read my zettel. And that's when I realized the glasses have nothing to do with writing.
With reading.
With reading. Deb read all those zettelach, even the ones that there's no pan garnished, including mine, and no glasses, nothing. And he's watching Deb was watching the door. As soon as Deb was on the other side, the family was on the other side of the door, Deb grabbed glasses and put on to read my zettel. So I figured the glasses really didn't have much to do with reading. That was one thing. And also we asked the Rebbe about a sheitel. My wife comes from Williamsburg. She's not a Hungarische, but she comes from Williamsburg. And the pastor there, she wear Hungarische turban. You know what Hungarische turban is? It's not a tichel. It's mamash a whole, you see the way they go, you see the way the old ones at least go in Williamsburg. It's a whole turban. So she asked about, the question was if she could wear a turban. And Rebbe said, no, it has to be a sheitel.
Yeah.
And then, so I asked the Rebbe if you can cover it.
Cover the sheitel.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You see some people, it's called the pillbox, that a lot of Hungarische wear, other Chassidim, they don't just wear sheitel, most of them they wear the...
Something on top of the sheitel.
Yes, it's called a pillbox. So I asked the Rebbe about that. So the Rebbe said, you can't wear that because nobody's going to imagine that you're covering the cover.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they going to assume? They're going to assume that that little hat, the little thing they put on top of the shell, that's the hair covering, because nobody's thinking you're covering the cover. And then Rebbe said, what's going to be, the lady will be sitting sometime in the gathering, that people aren't covering the hair, and she is. But she feels self-conscious. She's liable to take it off. Sheitel is not going to take off.
That's the Rebbe explaining why a turban or a tichel is not good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Rebbe said she not only can't wear a turban, but you have to, you can't even cover it. And to this day, my wife only covers her sheitel if it's mamish freezing, like blizzard weather out. Then she'll put on, a hat of some kind or something. But otherwise, she doesn't wear because they've been told you shouldn't cover the sheitel.
One of the integral components of being a chassid are the chassidische Yom Tovim and Yom Pagra. Whether it's Hey Tevis, Yud Shvat, Yud Aleph Nisan, or Gimel Tammuz. These days give us an opportunity to connect with our Rabbeim, to connect with each other, and be better chassidim. What is the story behind each of these days? How did the Rebbe commemorate and celebrate these days? And most importantly, what are the lessons, the takeaways, and the action items Hamaisa Hua Iker needed for each of these days? All of this and much, much more are answered in the new set recently published by Der Herr. Our Days is a journey through the Chabad calendar in story, meaning, and practice. With over 700 beautiful, glossy pages with elevated content, beautiful, beautiful photographs, you, your family, and friends will enjoy and live with each Chassidische Yom Tov. This book is a must for every Lubavitcher home, for every shul, for every school. It is a perfect gift item. This will not collect dust. It will be used day after day, month after month, year after year. You can have this set. Go to derher.org/Our Days. Order your set today and start living with the Chassidische Yom Tov. Yeah, I've seen that in other places that the Rebbe told people the same thing, that there's a problem with bringing a cover on the sheitel also.
Yeah, later on, but we have to put things in perspective. Years ago, I don't know when the first volumes of Igros Kodesh came out, but who got the letter? The person who got it, and maybe showed it to some of his buddies. But the Olam didn't know what letters Rebbe was writing, at least not me. Later on, we had Igros Kodesh, we was able to see some of the letters in Igros Kodesh. So you're able to see, I asked that, I was wondering about that, it was all there. But you weren't trying to recreate the wheel, it's just you didn't know the wheel was there. You didn't know that I've ever discussed the subject.
Right, so when your wife is asking about the sheitels, because she wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew something, that's why she asked. You know that probably...
we knew that the Bible said we're sheitel, but she didn't. She was going to lift open possibly about a turban. Mm-hmm. And then when Deborah said no, as I said, it's about covering it, and Deborah wasn't in favor of that either.
Mm-hmm. And then the Rebbe gave bracha at that yichidus also, I'm imagining.
For the chasna, yeah.
And when you were by yourself,
then they be bracha for the Yom.
So it was a separate yichidus basically.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you got married in Tav Shalamed here in Crown Heights?
Mm-hmm. Nope. The last chasna to be in Borough Park.
What do you mean?
When Rebbe spoke the Sikha about making chasnas in Crown Heights, so there were 3 chsanim. One person wrote in, it's not important who it is by name, one person wrote in that he has a hall already, and he spoke to the caterer. The caterer doesn't want to come to Crown Heights, so he asked what to do. So Rebbe told him you can't change. Yesh Mishapot, a terrible thing. You can't break a contract. Then I wrote in, and I told Rebbe that I spoke to the caterer, and he said if they'll let him in Crown Heights, he'll be glad to come. And they would let him in. But I told them about some other difficulty we had, and they said, no, it shouldn't change from any of your plans. So it came out we were the last one to be in Crown Heights, at Crown Heights.
So the Rebbe didn't want to change an existing plan, but it was
Yeah.
Mekano Lahaba.
Right.
So you had the last wedding that could have been in Crown Heights that was in Borough Park. Right, I think people that got married later, Taka did in Crown Heights, and all the Torah, Young Israel, different places.
Mm.
And after your chasana, you asked the Rebbe about what you should do?
No.
So what happened?
Nothing.
Like you knew you're going to be a sefer.
Well, Rebbe knew I can't...
No, you knew that.
Yeah, I was doing it already.
You're already a sefer before.
Yeah.
So that was the plan the whole time.
And I spent the first period of time after our chasana, so I used to work in the morning, and the afternoon I used to learn with Rabbi Zirkin for 6 hours. We learned 5 hours Gemara and 1 hour Shulchan Aruch.
That's what you did every day.
Yeah. Actually, just before I got married, I already started that Seder. I asked Rabbi Mentlik about it, Shiva, and he gave him, he couldn't understand how a person can handle a big mishpach. He's going to sit and learn with you 6 hours a day. He didn't understand that logistically. But he came home from Shechting, Rabbi Zirkin, and he was learning anyway. So he started learning.
So when did he do the safras in between?
Who, Rabbi Zirkin?
Mm-hmm.
At night and in the market. It wasn't a very busy chicken market. So he was on Pacific Street. It was just on the outskirts of Crown Heights.
Schlachtes.
Huh? Yeah.
That's where people did kaparas, no?
Yeah. So he used to write over there and he used to write at night. 6 hours living with me.
So then, and then subsequently, you had Yechidasin with your family,
Wife.
with your wife.
Yeah.
After your wedding. What happened by those Yechidasin?
By those Yechidasin, she's the more tachlistic one than me. She just did one. She just did for bracha for children. We didn't have children. We weren't blessed with the first child till we married 6 years. So she just asked for children. She didn't. That was something. Me, I came in. Used all kinds of dinim and hugim and all kinds of.
What do you mean? Like what? What were you asking? What were you asking?
I asked things about safus, about mila, about shchita.
Did I answer you?
Huh?
Did I answer you?
Some things, yes, and then one year he said I should ask a Rav and a Chassidish Rav, and then I knew, okay, it's you know.
And she was asking for bracha for children.
Yeah,
And what did I ever give a bracha?
Yeah, but it seems we weren't right Kaylee at the time, because it didn't happen. And then 1 year she went in, and she told Rebbe that I wanted Rebbe to tell me we're going to have children. Instead of just
a bracha.
Yeah, she said that I wanted Rebbe to tell her. And that's it, maybe it was one.
Did the Rebbe respond to that?
Huh?
Did the Rebbe respond?
Yeah. I don't remember exactly how that was, but yeah.
The Rebbe agreed to that, to her request.
Yeah.
And that year you had children.
Yeah.
And how many children do you have?
Can I know the 6?
6 children. So I know also, at a certain point, you somehow had a kasher with the Rebbetzin. So how did that start?
As I say, we got married in Tavshin Lamed, Adar time, in Adar. And then when it came the first Chanukah, which was already Lamed Aleph, because it appears Rosh Hashanah, so I saw an advertisement about a kit for making candles by yourself. Do-it-yourself candle kit. And I thought that sounded pretty good. Let me get it. I got it, and I said, let me make Hanukkah licht, the Shamus candles, because I didn't really believe they were pure beeswax anyway. So let me see if I could make it. And I did. They're beautiful, long tapered candles, and they looked so nice. I said, let me make a set for the Rebbe too. So I made another set, packed them up, went to Rebbe's house, knocked on the door.
You never spoke to the Rebbetzin before?
No. And then I heard a very sweet voice asking, wer is da? Who's there? So I said, Rebbetzin Clapman.
Rebbetzin Clapman.
Yeah, somebody Clapman. I didn't know what to say. It's me, So Rebbetzin opened the door, and I explained to that us in the house we made candles, and we'd like to leave a set here. I don't think I said the Rebbe. I'd like to leave a set here. So she discussed, first of all, it was very icy, and she was concerned about how I made the trip to go down the whole driveway. I don't know if you ever been to the house, the whole driveway, all the way to the back and up the steps and to get to the door. It was like a long J. So she discussed that with me about the difficulty that's coming through that, all that to get here. And then she complimented the candles and thanked me. And then she wanted me to repeat my name. So you'd say, what was your name again? So she said, in whose house do you make such gorgeous candles? So I took it that she wanted to read it. So I said, by us, Clapman. But the way she put it, that I should repeat my name, was very edel, very refined. It wasn't that, who are you? She put it in such a way that it's so beautiful. In whose house do you make these beautiful candles? And then we started going every year. I should say I went every year.
So every year that became a thing. You would knock on the door and give the Rebbetzin candles.
Yeah. And then one year I asked her, could we bring the children? This is skipping a whole bunch of years.
So you started this right away when you're a younger man, Tafshan Lamed.
Yeah.
Okay, so many years later you have kids.
Yeah. So I asked Rebbetzin if I could bring the children when we come. Mm-hmm. So she said yes. But the only thing is, I need some time to be able to make a party. I have to go shopping. That's what it is. I have to go shopping. So I asked her, what kind of shopping? What do I have to go shopping for? I have to make a party.
So you called her?
No, yeah.
You called her before?
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said that she can come anytime you want. I just need time to go shopping. And I said, shopping for what? And she'll make a party. A party? So what do you have to make a party for? I said, the visitors plenty.
Mm-hmm.
So she told me you should know that whenever you have children over, you have to make a party. It became so ingrained in us that later on, we were to have grandchildren. So sometimes you have to differentiate between, say, Zayd the Baba, who's Zayd, which Baba is it? So they used to call us Zayd and Babi Nash, because we became famous with, we had a Nash closet as big as a candy store. Rebbetzin said, whenever you have children over, you have to have Nash. Then, so we brought the children over. And then that became a tradition, Baruch Hashem, every year to come with the kids.
So what would happen when you would come with the children?
Each year was something else. One particular year the first time I told the children that if Rebbetzin passes around the candy dish, what I figure might happen. So you can only take one candy. And she'll pass it around again, one candy. As many times as just one candy at a time. So Rebbetzin took out a candy dish and she handed it to my oldest daughter, and then each one took one candy and started again. Came to my youngest daughter, who was there at the time, and she took a candy, and then she said, "That's not what Rebbetzin wants. She wants to have candy." She stuck it in her hand, and she already knew how to take candy. But after she took it, she realized it wasn't nice, so she started to give it back. So Rebbetzin was taking and putting in my oldest daughter's pocket.
So the Rebbetzin took it back from her, all the candies?
One candy at a time, whatever it was, and then put them in the pocket of my oldest daughter. So you know what the game round robin is? So it's like round robin. This one's passing and taking and giving, and then they'll end up in my daughter's pocket. So when they went home, they had candy already. Another year, before Hanukkah, I brought home a very beautiful, heavy, big block wooden dreidel. Mama's a chunk of wood. It was a beautiful, big piece with beautiful painted letters on it. So my son grabbed it and said, when we go to the Rebbetzin, we're going to give this stuff for a gift. So they polished it up and they boxed it and they wrapped it with bows, and it really looked beautiful. Came to the house and asked and told Rebbetzin to have a gift for her. So she took the gift, thanked them, and she wanted to know, you want me to open it now or later? And they all jumped, now. So she opened up and started playing dreidel. And you can almost picture the scene, or it's hard to picture the scene. Here's a lady sitting very regally, a bunch of kids laying over the table, and they're playing dreidel together. And every time she spun the dreidel, she got a gimel. And after a bunch of gimmels, she...
This is before Hanukkah, though, right?
A day before Hanukkah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And...
so every time she's getting a gimmel.
Yeah, and she said, smiled, looked up and she smiled and said, I'm good at this. So the picture was awesome. The scene was awesome. A lady said, look, Mama's like a bubby or an elder bubby sitting and playing with her grandchildren dreidel. They're all laying over the table. And somehow when they went, they weren't like tin soldiers, you know. They snuggled up to it. Another year we came, and there was a fearsome dog in the backyard and the next door neighbor towards New York Avenue side. And that dog was barking.
A dog in the
adjacent house to
the neighbor's yard,
backyard. On the New York Avenue side, not the Brooklyn Avenue side.
Mm-hmm.
And when the kids came to the back, that dog was like a bear. A paw you saw, little like a head.
In general, when people would come to the Rebbe's house, they would always go to the back. That's what it sounds like.
I don't know. We came to the back.
You always went to the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because my brother used to deliver to them, so he went from the back, so we went to the back also. And
your brother delivered what?
He used to deliver for bread, meat.
Mm-hmm.
So the kids were screaming frantically. Rebbetzin opened the door. She didn't have to say who's there. She just opened the door. The kids were running in. It was very interesting when she closed the door. She calmed each child down. She didn't make it's nothing, you know, don't worry about it. No, she calmed each child down. And then she told them that I don't like the dog either. But they told me that it should be there for security reasons, so, but I don't like it. And then she explained what she doesn't like. She said because the people who come to visit me are scared because of the dog. And it bothers me. They're coming to visit me, and my guests, are scared. So it was a big musa haskell that. So your pain was her pain. She has something to get. Yeah, dog, no, it didn't make a difference to her. But when she sees the reaction of the people who come to her, that bothers her. Lessons for us. You can't just say to somebody, everything will be okay. You know, you have to feel for them, and she sure did that.
It's not a regular thing what you did to just decide to give something to the Rebbetzin for the Rebbe to use, and then your kids coming and having this whole relationship with the Rebbetzin. Most people in Crown Heights didn't do that. So what got you to do that? If
I wanted to be sarcastic, I would say I didn't take a survey. But if anybody else did it, I have no idea.
So you don't know why you did it. You just did it.
Yeah. I mean, we know that Dr. Feldman, Olav Shalom, his daughter was close to them, but that was a different relationship. She was already a Kalamite. She was, she was in the chaplain life looking for shidduchim already. They were talking about wedding gowns, colors, schemes. It was a different kind of thing. A bunch of kids come playing dreidel with her. I don't... So the other people that I heard of, people having a relationship with her, the circumstance was different. And my oldest daughter was in a class with Shmuel Butman's daughter. And at the end of that school year, the elementary has a yearbook, not the high school. So the girls were encouraged to write articles. And they said that anybody who writes anything about the Rebbetzin, they'll put their article first.
This is after Chab B'Shvat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the Butman young lady wrote smiling eyes and shiny eyes. My daughter was writing about making birthday parties. She had other stuff to tell. We had also one year, besides Hanukkah candles, my daughter, I don't remember how old she was at the time, she asked if she could make Shabbos candles.
She asked the Rebbetzin if she can make Shabbos.
We went for Hanukkah, gave Hanukkah, she said, can I make Shabbos candles for you also? So that was really a big thing. Hanukkah candles once a year. Now you're taking on an obligation for every week. It's a whole different set of circumstances. Things come up, you go away. So my daughter said I'd like to make the candles. So Rebbetzin asked her, but will you be able to do the jobs for Shabbos that you have and still make candles for me? So she said yes. But Rebbetzin wasn't going to just take the word of a little girl on that, so she turned to my wife and said, what do you say? So my wife told Rebbetzin, if she says she can do it, she's responsible enough, she'll be able to do both. The candles. And so Rebbetzin told me, okay, thank you very much. And she said, okay. But I'd like to dwell a moment on the job part of it. Said if you'll still be able to do the jobs that you have for Shabbos. So Rebbetzin was saying you're supposed to have a job for Shabbos. What does that mean, you have a job for Shabbos? You come into a house that looks like a proper home set for Shabbos. You're going to see a table. You're going to see challah on the table. You're going to see napkins and silverware and glasses and cups, becher, wine, grape juice for Kiddush. But how did it all come about? Did it come about when the husband came home from shul? Did it happen before they went? Did it happen with screaming, yelling, and chaos? Or did it come in, everybody has a job? Now, I know I washed the floors, I polished the silver, I set the table. Everybody has a job. Two things happen. The first thing is that it comes in very orderly. And the second, everybody can come to the table and celebrate Shabbos. I contributed this or that. I know we set the table Thursday night, so when it comes Friday, the house has already a taste of Shabbos to it. But even if you don't do Thursday night, it should be sometime with a schedule that everything should happen very cohesively and come in like a fine watch movement, not just chaotically until it finally happens. And I think that's what she meant, that you have to have a job, and the job you can't just give away. Oh, you make candles for me. You have a job. That's very important. You have to stick to it.
Yeah. So she was teaching a lesson also.
Yeah.
And then your daughter would deliver them every Shabbos?
Friday. Every Friday, yeah.
And she would speak to the Rebbetzin every time? She would just deliver them?
Yeah. She asked once about setting up the Leichte, and Rebbetzin said yes. It didn't work out. But then she was growing up, and Rebbe was in the library, a bunch of Bachrim setting up the house, sweeping, whatever they were doing. You have a girl come in, and it came a point that it wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been appropriate. If she started when she was 8, probably would have continued, but just to make them and deliver them.
And the Rebbetzin and the Rebbe used these candles?
Yeah. I'll tell you, it happened. First of all, somebody who was close in base that I've told me that it's not possible that you do something on a continuous basis and them not use it and just let it happen. But the candles, she said she would use it. As a matter of fact, she had to make sure that it's not going to interfere with something else. So if she wasn't going to use them, she could have just said, no, thank you. But it happened one year. Rabbi Groner came over to me and told me that I should make the Hanukkah candles shorter or smaller. So I made another one smaller, and I showed it to him. He said, make it smaller. I didn't know how small to make it. So I asked him. He said, I never saw them in night. I have no idea. Just make them smaller. Finally, from a beautiful long tape, it came out like a piece of pencil. A little thing. So he said, oh, that looks good. When I made the candles, I made that type of candle, that size. And when I went to Rebetzin's house, 8 were packed up, and there was a separate one that was loose I wanted to show her.
You wanted to show what the original looked like?
I wanted to show her the one she's getting this year in the package.
Mm-hmm.
And she smiled, and she really liked it. After Hanukkah, I went over to Rabbi Groner. First, you have to do what you're supposed to do. So I didn't ask any questions. After Hanukkah, I went over and said, how did you know? 770 was never part of this whole equation. It was only to President Street. And
to have the Rabbi Groner know to tell you for the house.
So he told me, he said, the Rebbe told me to tell you that since Clapman makes the candles anyway, he should make them smaller so my wife doesn't have to cut them down. Like this Rebbetzin used to have to cut them and trim them. So he was trying to save the Rebbetzin work. So he's making them, let him make it. So from there I took a lesson that a good husband always tries to find a way to make the workload later for his wife.
Lighter.
Yeah, including Deborah. He said, well, she has to sit there, cut them, and throw them. Let him make them, the proper size. So he was looking to cut down the workload on the Rebbetzin.
Beautiful. It's amazing. Were there other things that you brought to the Rebbetzin, to the Rebbe? Once you start doing this, maybe there's more things.
Yeah. And nothing knows no limits.
No, okay, so let's hear.
In everything, I just want to point out, all these things were very good. And it was a schus that Rebbetzin gave us. But they managed life ganz fine before we came into that picture. And ultimately, although I have to say that, I can't express in any way with words or with emotions all it meant to us and everything, but the real only thing that a person can give the Rebbe is it settled that he learned something extra, or he does a mitzvah more behider, or he started doing something he didn't even know that he was supposed to do. That's the real gift for the Rebbe, and ultimately I have to say filtering over to Rebbetzin as well. Everything else is very nice, it's for you, but the bottom line is that the nachas Rebbe has is when he does an Indian Torah mitzvah. You make a candle for me, very good, but what can you really give me that's for me is only, that you're doing something in Torah and Avodah better than you did before. As a matter of fact, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but Rabbi Tenenbaum, also Mendel Tenenbaum, was the principal of Lubavitch Yeshiva. He used to go to South America in the summer collecting money for Lubavitch Yeshiva. And in whichever country it was a great used to give him a lot of money. And one year when he came, so the Greer told him, I found a becher, Kiddush cup, that's so beautiful, it had to have been made for the Rebbe. So he told him, Rebbe doesn't need it. If he has one, if he needs it, he has it already. He doesn't like gifts. I'm going to increase my donation to Lubavitch, that you shouldn't think that instead of money to Yeshiva, I'm buying this silver Kiddush cup. And he told the Rebbe, man, no, don't. So the guy didn't do it, but at the end he felt that he deserves at least an honorable mention. So when he came back to Crown Heights and he was giving a report to Rebbe, he told him, by the way, this and this person, he gave money and a bigger donation, and he wanted to buy you a Kiddush cup, but I talked him out of it. So Rebbe thanked him for talking him out of it. And then the Rebbe told him, the only gift I accept is the gift of Svarim, Jewish books. But don't buy the Sefer, don't buy the book and send it to me. You buy the book, you learn it. And that learning should lead to doing something better, like we said, either to do something you didn't know about before, or it's something you do now, you'll do it in a more enhanced way. And you send me a note that you do it, that note, that's my gift. You don't even have to send the book in, send a note. So a person has to take everything in context. The only thing we can really, and it goes for now also, the only real thing you can give to the Rebbe is that you do something better than you did yesterday, or you're encouraging other people to also do better. But getting back to what you asked, one year I saw a jar of honey. It was a square mason jar, but it looked so beautiful. It was filled with honey with a big comb. The comb is the wax inside it, and it was so beautiful. I said, this is for the Rebbe. And I bought it and I sent it in. And then the next year we put it in with a Riemann with a pomegranate.
To the Rebbe or to the Rebbetzin? To the Rebbe's house?
Yeah, the house. And it started growing every year. And then after Chavad Chossid, we brought the 770. But by that time already, it was on a silver tray with fake green grass on it to offset the beauty of the fruits. We had maybe 20 fruits. We used to go shopping for 2 days to find unique fruits of Shechianu. And then there was a crystal thing holding the carrot slivers and all kinds of things and everything. And then they used to give back all the kelim after Rosh Hashanah.
They would give you back the kelim?
Yeah. So we gave that, and then my daughter gave other things.
To the Rebbetzin?
Yeah. She used to give, there was a plastic tree that she saw.
Mm-hmm.
And the points of the branches were very sharp. And you put on different fruits like dates or figs or whatever. And she bought that thing and she put on all the different kinds of fruits. And she put gumdrops, colored gumdrops to give it some color. And on the tray that was the base of the tree, she put buxa, and so that they used that also. One year Tu B'Shvat was on Chamisha B'Shvat was on Shabbos, and it went to the table. It was on Rebbe's table by the Fabringen.
Oh, so you're not talking about Rosh Hashanah?
No, that's the two things.
Two separate things.
Was, yeah.
So you give things Rosh Hashanah, Chamisha B'Shvat.
We noticed them the whole time.
But it's interesting that they sent the kelim back.
Yeah.
Always like that?
Yeah, since she was a little girl, so from time to time when she sent in candles, she would also send in a bud vase. A bud vase, a small vase that holds only one flower.
Mm-hmm.
So on special occasions, like a birthday before Yom Tov, she used to send them bodvar also, a buzzvar.
On whose birthday?
Huh? Her birthday.
On her birthday, she would say.
Yes. So once she went into Rabbi Klein, and she said, Rabbi Klein, I sent in a flower. Can I get the vase back? She came back a few minutes later with a vase, like they give today, like for the l'chaims or the words. She says, Rabbi Klein, I gave a little one. What's the difference from the Rebbe? I didn't see a little one. What's the difference? Is also from the Rebbe. So,
and using the same cloud that if every year they're taking it and sending back the dishes, that must mean that they're using it.
yeah, I mean, well, the candles we know because the Rebbe intervened.
Right.
And the Shabbos candles, she said. And then one year I didn't send honey in time. It was kind of late in the season, and I called up if I can bring. So she said quite honest. She said, I bought it already. She said, but if you bring a little bit, that's the honey I'll use. So she said explicitly that she would use it.
Right. And after Chab Shvat, you would bring candles for the Rebbe also?
Yeah.
For Hanukkah?
Yeah.
Not for Shabbos?
Yeah, Shabbos also. And for Hanukkah, just gave it to Rabbi Gaon. They didn't make
And for Shabbos, so every week you were providing the Rebbe with candles.
Yeah.
Because the Rebbe lit himself.
As a matter of fact, unfortunately, when Deb was in a difficult physical condition, she went once with the candles and a bud vase with a flower in it and a note. It was her birthday that week. So Rabbi Grona told her, the flower I could put on Deb's desk and the candles, with the letter I can't help you. It seems that must have been a really...
After Chav Zayin Adar, you're talking about?
Yeah, it must have been a really difficult time to say, the flower I could put on Deb's desk, and the candles, the tzedus, I can't do anything. So she said, I'm leaving it anyway. He called her up during the week, and he said that however he communicated with Deborah, and Deborah gave a bracha. It seems that the matzv improved. So he called back and said it.
Among Chassidim is brought to you by Chassidische Der Herr. We live in a chaotic world. A world where for us Chassidim is a seinu, lei ra'inu, we do not have the ability to hear and see the Rebbe on a daily basis. Yet we know that the Rebbe is very much with us, and the Chassidus Chabad is alive and thriving more than ever before. One needs to only tap into it. Chassidische Der Herr provides you and your family with the tools necessary to tap into all of this. Whether it's the monthly magazine, the way it all began, whether it's Der Herr books, Der Herr online content, and so much more. Men, women, and children throughout the world benefit and use these tools on a daily basis. Whether it's children enjoying the children's magazine that comes along with the regular Der Herr, or enjoying the children's podcast, whether it's Bachrim in yeshivas receiving the Der Herr, whether it's girls in high schools enjoying Der Herr club in their local high school. People all over the world and from all walks of life enjoy and utilize these tools and take advantage of it. If you're not already subscribed to the Her Monthly Magazine, do so today at derher.org. That's derher.org. Der Herr is a dynamic organization which is committed to continue providing these tools, grow on a constant basis, and do all that we can to help this effort. Baruch Hashem, it takes a lot of resources and finances to make this all happen. You can be part of Der Herr through your financial support as well, through visiting our website derher.org, or through contacting us to setting up a meeting. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. And then there was there ever like a time that through all these interactions with the Rebbetzin that you saw like she never spoke about like something happening in 770 or anything like that?
No, not to me. I mean, other people had different relationships with her. Rebbetzin Khan, when Rabbi Yehuda's wife, spoke to her, they weren't speaking about kids playing dreidel.
Right.
Or making Chanukah candles. It was on a different, it depends who she was speaking to. Me, she didn't discuss it. And the word Rebbe came out, to the best of it, only one single time in all the years.
What was that?
I was very careful never to mention Rebbe because I didn't want it to be that I'm trying to find out something or Rebbe, and she's just like, God forbid to think like a conduit to be able to get there. Mm-hmm. There's like you, not for me to explain, but it wasn't a roundabout way to get to the Rebbe. As a matter of fact, she said once, would you like to come? I'm just picking numbers. I say 4:30, and I said whenever it's most convenient. 5:30, whenever it's most convenient. Do you want to come when my husband is home? I said no.
She offered.
Yeah, I never heard her offering anybody else to offer to come when Deb is home. But anyways, yes, you want to come when my husband is home? I said no.
Maybe she wanted you to come with the kids.
In a very tangible way, Deb had accessibility like you can't imagine.
To the
coming out 3 times a day, spending Shabbos, the whole Shabbos day with us, and Fabrings at night till late night, not as maybe late as in the earliest, but still till quite late at night and everything. And now he has to come home after all that and see Clapman in the house. Why aren't you all the time at 770?
Uh-huh. I think your son told me a story about when the Svarim came back.
When the Svarim came back,
Beis Kislev Tavshem Mem Ches.
She had Hey Tavis was the Dida Notzach, that was the potential, but the Svarim still weren't back yet.
Right.
So the Svarim actually came back, unfortunately, such a long schlep, and Beis Kislev.
A year later.
Yeah, also. And they wanted that, we got a call in the morning from Beis Sifka that day, Beis Kislev, that the school only half a day. And they wanted the girl should be able to be 7:70. That moment that everyone was waiting for, with tears and heartbreak and everything, finally coming to fruition. They wanted the girl should be able to be there to see it. So we got a chain called School Half a Day. My daughter had an appointment time to go to Rebbetzin that day, later in the day.
This is for Hanukkah.
This is because her bas mitzvah was Vav Kislev. So it was before her bas mitzvah.
She was going in honor of her bas mitzvah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I called the Rebbetzin. I said if an earlier time is convenient, since she has no school only half a day, she can come earlier. And very sternly the Rebbetzin is, favos not a halbe tag. Why only half a day? And there was no way that I was going to get this 770 business involved. It was not a very pleasant time, and I just didn't want to discuss that, so I just said that was the text, that was the message of the Chengul. And that was it. About 45 minutes later, we got another Chengul, school all day. And we laugh in our house. What happened in that 45 minutes? We got a Chengul, school all day. Clapman speaks to Rebbetzin. She wants to know why only half a day. 45 minutes to get to Chengul all day.
Right.
Exactly what happened. Leave it to each one's imagination.
Right, and then famously, the Bachar that were there, the Rebbe was not happy.
Infamously, yeah.
Infamously, the Rebbe was not happy. And
by the way, the Rebbe said something like that years before. I don't remember how to phrase it exactly, or how the Rebbe phrased it. The Rebbe made a comment once. The Bachim standing outside. They should be ready Seder, and they're waiting to see my car when I'm coming 770. And as soon as they say, they run in 770. They run in anyway. Well, you say that they should be learning.
Mm-hmm.
So this idea of just wasting time was never Deborah's pleasure anyway. He said once, they're sitting outside waiting, as soon as they kind of run in anyway.
Right.
So Deborah didn't appreciate everybody standing around.
Right, and in Beis Kislev there was, this is what I heard, I have to verify that they wanted to make some type of ceremony of the Svarim coming back, and the Rebbe rejected that. But I guess what you're saying...
You would know more about those things than me.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you called the Rebbetzin, and then the Rebbetzin said, why is it only half a day? And then very soon afterwards, you got another robocall. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Now, she didn't even wind up going on Beis Kislev altogether.
You were just your daughter.
Yeah, her bas mitzvah is Vav. So the Rebbetzin said, you'll come on Hey Kislev, and you'll stay with me until it turns night, and you'll become bas mitzvah together with me. And that's what happened. She went, but then she went herself. I didn't go.
She went herself, not
not
with your wife either.
No, herself. It seems to me that I was speaking to Rabbi Gansberg, who used to be in the house a lot, that he made some kind of comment on that I thought that, this should be just my daughter. My daughter said that the Rebbetzin called the night before and spoke to her and told her that since you'll be leaving at night, you'll come by day, but since you'll be leaving at night, you should have somebody to come to pick you up.
Yeah, the Rebbetzin was concerned about
she shouldn't go in
herself.
Yeah. Then she asked how I told her she asked the Rebbetzin how she celebrated her bas mitzvah. And she said that the Rebbetzin asked, "Is your father waiting outside?" So she said yes. So okay, so we won't make it so long. So she said she's not going to ask any questions. But the Rebbetzin asked her, how are you celebrating your bas mitzvah?
The Rebbetzin asked,
my daughter, how are you celebrating your bas mitzvah?
Okay.
So she said, we're having my class over and a few of the closest relatives. And she said that the Rebbetzin said that's what she did. To make the family, how many friends did she have?
They didn't make a big ceremony out of the bas mitzvah.
No. But it was respectful and dignified, but it was on a smaller scale.
Was there any interaction with the Rebbetzin about regarding like your work with the Safras and anything like that?
No. I say in the house that the words coulda, woulda, shoulda equals you need a lesson in Shara B'tochen. Because the outcome of everything is the lesson of Hashem. But looking back, I don't understand how I never asked if I should do my Sefer program for her. I have a whole show. And
for her?
Yeah.
Wasn't there something about a book?
Oh. The book story is... There is a place in Philadelphia called the Hebrew Publication Society, and they wanted to produce a book that shows how we make a Sefer Torah, the materials we use, how it's written, all those kind of good things. And we became the focus point. I didn't know if I should do it or not. Rabbi Chadakov told me to do it, so we accepted it. And I had editorial rights to make sure that everything is written properly, but nonetheless he said to do it. And when they came to introduce themselves as a husband and wife. He was the text writer, and she was the photographer. And we went to, they came many, the book isn't a very big book, but it was very, very many times they came. And when the book finally was completed, they sent us a few copies. My daughter took one, said she's going to send it she's going to bring it to the Rebbetzin. I don't know if I sent one to them or not, I don't remember. But at any rate, the Rebbetzin called the next day. I answered the phone, and she wanted to know why Miriam just dropped the book on me, and why didn't she come in? So I told her, I don't know. Meanwhile, she told me she went through the book, and she told me that when she was a little girl in Lubavitch, listen to who's talking, she is Lubavitch, she said that she was friends with a girl whose father was Moshe the Sefer. And he used to do all the things that you're showing in the book. And when she used to go, kids, but one day you play in my house, I play in your house. So when she used to go to that girl's house to play, she used to like to watch the father. And she used to watch the way he did all those things that are described. And so she's so happy to see that it's still being done here in America. Then she got on the phone with my daughter. And my daughter said, I know a book like this takes many visits. And each time they ask you questions, each time you have to make your hair and get all set and everything. And was it so hard and difficult each time over and over again? And I saw it was amazing. Here she's talking to me about all these kind of wonderful things, making cloth and ink and the parchment and ink and everything. And here, immediately she's talking about a girl, making up her hair with nice bows and stuff. And yet she was able to deal with both.
She related to every person.
Yeah, by what they
on their level. Their interests also. To the Sefer, she's speaking about the Safras and to...
A little girl, she's talking about bows in the hair,
That's very interesting. And it's interesting that you reminded her, something that you did reminded her about her youth in Lubavitch. That's why
Yeah, well, another thing happened. Then I saw a sikha from the Frierdiker Rebbe that the Rebbe describes about making the tshuva licht, the licht that's customary to light on the Shabbos between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And at the time of the Tzemach Tzedek, the third Rebbe, it was a whole honor to participate in making that candle. Usually in a glass, I guess, and making the wick and melting the wax, all the
whole
steps
Aveda,
it took,
yeah.
And it was a very big honor to have any part in it whatsoever. So I told the Rebbetzin, I saw in a sikha,
from your
and
father.
I described it. I didn't want to say it. I just said I saw in a sikha.
You didn't say who it's from. Which
No.
sikha?
I didn't know how to say your father. I didn't know. It was awkward. So I just said I saw in a sikha that describes it.
What language did you speak to her in?
Yiddish. With my children and my wife, she spoke in English, and with me, for the most part, she spoke in Yiddish, but certain things were highlighted, and that she said in English. So I told her I saw a sikha about making this candle, and the implication was, if you want to do it, it's easy to arrange.
You make candles.
Yeah, so she told me that she remembers that she was a little girl in the Lubavitch. This is the second time she used that. She remembers, I don't remember, she said she remembers seeing it or hearing that they were discussing how it was done in yesteryear from that time. But nonetheless, she said, but we don't do it now. So
She said we don't light it, or we don't have this whole lot.
No, so we don't do it. That's not making it.
But they light it, maybe. Yeah. The Rebbe spoke about it already.
And discuss what she likes to know.
So we don't do this whole ceremony.
Yeah, don't make
candles.
it. I try not to be intrusive into their personal minhagim or anhagas.
Right. But she did ask you to make other candles.
Yeah. Once when I was there, I didn't meet her at that time. I'll tell you about that. Deborah called up one night and said he wanted to come home early. So she excused herself to whoever was in the house at the time, and she couldn't meet with us. She was upstairs.
You were scheduled to come with your family.
Yeah, and at the last minute, Deborah called, and she couldn't meet with us.
Mm-hmm.
But he showed me that whoever answered the door, a long candle. That was only a piece of it. It was maybe 15 inches long. That was only a part. And she wants to know if I can make such a candle. So I took that piece.
Like for Yartzeit?
Yeah.
Was it around the Yartzeit?
No, we went for Hanukkah time. But she was, she wanted to have a stack of them. She told me that she used to get them in a certain place. They don't have them anymore. They're not making them. They don't carry them. So she wanted to know if I could make it. And she was very disappointed in herself that like, that's not a nice thing to do, but she was stuck. And then she wondered, but the kinder helfen nicht. She didn't want the kids to be involved in that. Said, no, they're not. And we made them.
This is all through this, whoever it was.
No, that was already directed with her.
Oh, so after you said you could do it, you spoke
but
to her
he said
about
she said you have to give her a bill.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I really didn't want to take money, but I also didn't want to lose the schus.
So she's asking you to do something, so B'meila, she wants to pay for it.
Yeah, you can't do types for base. As a matter of fact, years later, she told me she doesn't understand how this whole thing happened with the Chanukah, that they don't pay for it. Like, she's like...
She told you that?
Yeah. She doesn't know how that got...
How did this happen?
Yeah. She didn't know. So I didn't want to lose out on the schus of making those other licht, so I had to give a price.
Mm-hmm.
Then she called and told me, ich mein zu sagen a business bill. When I said a bill, I mean to imply a business bill. So now I had to differentiate. What's the a bill and a business bill?
What, you sent a bill? Or you just told her how much it is?
No, she told me that... later on, I had to put in the bill when I finished the candles. So she told me it has to be a business bill.
bill.
So I thought to myself, what is the difference between a bill and a business bill? A bill is put in $1. It's a business is a bill, right?
If what?
If I charge her $1, it's a bill.
Right.
You know, marked down on a paper. But it's not a business bill. You can't get a candle like that for $1. So I figured $3.50 sounds somewhat reasonable. Had no idea what they cost when she bought them in the store. $3.50. So I paid charged $3.50 again because I didn't want. I was afraid that if I say nothing and very emphatically, I'm afraid she's going to try to find another source. And so we made, and the end of that story was that she called up after the first one was used, and she told me it burned beautifully all the way down to the end. The wax didn't spritz out, and it didn't drip wild. They said it was very beautiful. It seems that the next time wasn't such good luck, though, because she called up and she said that it was spritzing. She said maybe there was water in the wax. She knew how to make candles because we discussed that before.
She knew what?
She knew how to make candles because that was in a different conversation. So
what conversation?
What?
No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah, she wanted to know about if you make other candles for other people also, then she has to make them in a mold. Did you hand dip them?
She knew how to make them.
Yeah. So when it spritz, usually there's water in the wax. She said maybe there was water that got in the wax because it was like spitting the wax. And then so I said, I'm going to make a recall. And I took them back. And then I started giving them, but I couldn't wait. I made, let's say, 9, but I couldn't make 9 gifts she needed. So I made a few, whatever it was, and I gave it to her. And then we came Hanukkah. So we're standing, by her Hanukkah. So she held out an envelope to me. So I can't take any money because you have credit. No, she paid for, let's say, 9, and now I owe another 3, let's say, so you have credit. So she took the envelope and she passed over to where my wife was standing. So my wife said, I have nothing to do with candles. I don't know this whole business between you. Said she doesn't know anything about it. And meanwhile, Rebbetzin is holding the envelope. So my wife asked Rebbetzin, is this Hanukkah geld? She said, yeah, it's Hanukkah geld. We just assumed it was, for the licht. She said, no, it's Hanukkah geld. So, Hanukkah geld we take, and my wife took the envelope, and we got home. There was a $5 bill for each child. So it was like it. Meanwhile, I'll just mention something on that visit. On the way home, my wife asked the children, are you disappointed that you didn't see the Rebbetzin?
That visit when it was canceled.
Because when the person opened the door, he said, Rebbetzin, you should come in, help yourself. She made a whole dreidels and candies and stuff, and stay as long as you want, but she's sorry she can't meet you in person.
So the Rebbe's home.
Yeah.
And you guys are doing sich in the house.
They're upstairs, we're downstairs.
Okay.
And my wife asked the children, are you disappointed that you didn't see the Rebbetzin? So my daughter answered my wife, it's better they should be together 1 minute earlier than we should come in to speak. So the next day I called up Rebbetzin to thank her in the name of the children for the dreidels and the candies. And so she starts to apologize to me. I said, my husband, I didn't want to hear such a thing. So I told her that since you tell me this, I'd like to share something with you. I said on our way home, my wife asked the children, how did you like the visit? I wouldn't dare put it, are you disappointed? I just said, my wife asked the children how they liked the visit. And my daughter said, it's better, I repeated exactly what my daughter said. I said, it's better, they should be together 1 minute earlier than we should come in to speak. And I said, well, so Rebbetzin said, of welche Tochter is das? Which daughter is this? Like the oldest, the youngest? And what name is, what's her name? And how old is she? And in what class is she in? And they answered those 4 questions. Then she said, we're friends, she can come whenever she wants. That was sealed. Those 2 had a special relationship after them. That was
your oldest daughter and that daughter.
And that was my oldest daughter.
Those 2 mean the daughter and the Rebbetzin.
Yeah, she said that. Anyway, Shmuel Lu, I was speaking to him. They were really the noted shliach, Shmuel Lu from England. They were very close, but they used to come in, get royal dining service, and he told me once that's his favorite Rebbetzin story. And I asked him once why. She said, you listen to what happened? He said, Rebbetzin did the same thing. She was telling Rebbetzin, my daughter was saying, that the Rebbetzin had a bigger call, that her husband was coming, Rebbe was coming home. And she did the same thing. She saw that there's a bigger need in her personal needs of having a husband like, every husband, every family should be zeichet that a wife has a husband that, the part of the family. And here she's making Rebbe, she knows she's like sharing the Rebbe or giving Rebbe away to Klal Yisrael and everything. She did the same thing for something bigger than her. She said, here, this little girl tapped into that idea and understanding that there's something bigger than you.
No.
So those two had their own...
Right, you said already that she came for a bas mitzvah.
Yeah. Then once she came with me, just us two, my daughter and I.
The same daughter?
Yeah, and before we left, Rebbetzin asked, did you like the candy I gave you? I said, it's okay. So Devin said, Miriam, next time you come, call me before you come and I'll try to get the candy you like. So I saw from there, it's not enough just to make somebody happy. You have to make it that they should really be happy. The candy was good, but she said it was okay, only okay. And Rebbetzin wanted to make it that it should be, chatchila very good by her.
I read a story that you wrote something into the Rebbe, like a story that you witnessed with the esrog. I read it on a WhatsApp this year. Is that a true story?
Yeah.
Maybe you could share that.
My parents always used an Israeli esrog, and we only got a esrog for my zayd to my father yet, only after you're married. The children use the same esrog as the one esrog for the family. You got married, you got your own. The year we got married, that was me the first of the first. Not only the first esrog of the year, the first esrog in my life that I was ever buying an esrog for myself. So my father used Eretz Yisrael, but I wanted Rediyana from Italy, like the tradition Chabad is. So somebody told me you should go to a certain person and you should buy by him. I came up to his house, a big family, a small apartment, and mattresses behind the couches. And the table with a sregim on it, they all looked they looked like green pickles. I wasn't used to seeing such a sregim. But here, it's in a person's house. I didn't know how to walk out. Finally, Rabbi Gross, Rebbe Gross, he was very close with Rebbe's mother, and he came in to buy an esrog. He gave a quick look with his eyes, grabbed one, how much is he, paid him, wish him good juntif, and he left. When he left, I figured I can get out on his coattails. Came out of his house, and he told me, the esrog is not a muhudidik esrog. The esrog is not a very fine specimen of an esrog. But my hidur, my beauty of observing the mitzvah of Sukkot is that it helped a Jew have panos, a livelihood, in a respectable way. It's not the actual esrog itself. It's the holiday. The holiday is an expensive one. And this person needs panosa. He's doing this to make an income. I have to try to help him. That's by me. That's the beauty of Yontif. It's not in the esrog, the fruit itself, but it's in the totality of the whole Yontif. I help the Jew have panosa. I think he also told me I didn't take the nicest one in case somebody will be a borderline case. He should have a better selection. And by the way, that's the esrog he actually used because I saw him using it on Sukkot, so it wasn't just, buy it and use something else. Years later, he became not well, Rabbi Gross, and I wrote into the Rebbe. And I asked somebody to write, an Israeli person, not a Lubavitcher per se, and he wrote it so beautifully.
You asked
somebody to write the story.
To write up the story.
Yeah, but he just took half a piece of copy machine paper. It was such a beautiful penmanship and the wording and everything. I could never have copied it over like that. So I just wrote Krugdas Admor Shlita. I addressed it to the Rebbe, and I went to 770. I saw Rabbi Groner. I asked him, could you have a seat? I want to give you something. Sits down. I hand him a note, and I said, can you read this? So he takes it, he opens it, he hands it back to me. What happened? It's addressed to the Rebbe. So I said, I know it's addressed, but I want you to read it. He was reading it, and smiling. It was like so beautiful. The one who wrote it, Meiser B'Shnei Chassidim. There's an incident that happened to two Chassidim. He didn't even mention any names, just generic. Two Chassidim, this is the story between them. And While Rabbi Groner was reading, I asked him, do you think I should give it in? When he finished reading, he became very irate. He said, all the shtusim, all the foolish things everybody writes in, a beautiful thing, like this you're questioning, she's giving all the other narishkeit, the foolish things people write in, that's of course. Have a beautiful thing to share, and this you're questioning? He said, of course you should give it in. Give it in. The next day he came over to me and he told me, I was there when the Rebbe read it. I don't know if they had some kind of signal between them. He leaves it open, leaves it on top, he stands, I don't know what. He said, I was there when the Rebbe read the letter. And Rebbe's smile got bigger and bigger and bigger. It came to the end, it was mamish, a smile, say, from ear to ear, so much nachas he had from it. And then whatever Rebbe said for bracha, that he didn't repeat to me because it wasn't okay. But the actual story itself, Rebbe had tremendous nachas from. And it's the lesson also, something you have to be more sensitive to somebody than just to flash around, have a beautiful esrog. It's an expensive season. How about your next door neighbor that might be able to be helped or needs help? You have to look out for them too.
And the lesson is also that when you see something positive, your knee-jerk reaction was, I have to report this to the Rebbe, to give the Rebbe nachas.
Of course, that took more time than it should have. Had another one like that, though, in regard to what you say. Somebody stopped me in the store in Erev Pesach.
In the store?
What?
Someone stopped you where?
In one of the stores on Kingston.
Okay.
And he said that he had extra cash around, or he needed anything for Yantif, just sitting here. So I told him, no, but if you want to give out money, he said, there's somebody who needs.
You gave him a name.
Yeah. So I think I told Debbie that somebody came over. It's not that they asked, can you help me out? Nothing. Somebody just said, I have cash sitting here. What's going to do over Yantif? Not doing anything anyway. Maybe somebody needs it for now. So there are people that are sensitive that, how can I help somebody right now?
You wrote that to the Rebbe also. Okay. What didn't we cover?
The gypsy. I don't know if it's the proper forum to discuss it, but I'd like to mention things about Seif. I'd like to mention 2 or 3 things that are applicable from this field as applies to people, to the public. And that is, unfortunately today, people look for the easy way out of things. I can't say everybody, of course, but many people. It's very difficult to get used to writing with a goose feather. But nonetheless, that's what you're supposed to do. Today, they write with plastic nibs and plastic. Now, the new thing I heard is ceramic ones. They shape it to your handwriting once, and then it's good for, a very, very long time. Rebbe said you have to write with a goose feather.
The Rebbe told you?
No, Rebbe told Rabbi Zirkin. But there are people that they go to somebody and it's done properly, but then they give it to be checked by somebody who's using metal pens and rapidograph pens. They say the ink is kosher. That's not the way you're supposed to do it.
It's where is it? What's the mucker that it has to be a goose feather?
The Rebbe.
Okay.
If you want to branch out from that, I went to Moshe Feinstein, who I used to go to quite often. I went to Moshe and I asked him about using those pens. He said, no, you have to use a feather. And he even told me, he said, I know, he spoke to me in Yiddish, but I know that you could make a feather that's edel, that's refined enough, that it fixes even the crowns on the small and the heads of the smallest letters in Tefillin and mezuzahs. So he was aware of the problem, and he was, but nonetheless, you can make such a feather when you can properly cut such a feather. Then I figured, well, people say it's a literature. So I went to Pekarsky, who does Shivan 770, who was the Rebbe's Rav. And I asked him about it, and he said, no, you have to use a feather. So, of course, you'll find people say you could do this, you could do this, you can do anything, but this is the traditional way that you're supposed to do it. And as I say, that even somebody who was careful to make sure it was written properly, they give it to somebody to check, and that guy's messing it up. So you have to be careful who you give your tefillin and mezuzahs to check. The shimush we discussed already. They have to gain experience with somebody who's watching you, not just showing you once or twice and going out to drift more businesses. And the other thing is, it's coming prevalent now that they seal up the tefillin like a bank vault, which is wrong. There are opinions that hold that tefillin are really not good.
What do you mean, like a bank vault?
You know, they glue them up and,
Right.
and then they paint the edge. You can't even tell where the part is open. And nonetheless, there's a Torah from Begidim. That's when Moshe Rabbeinu was on Mount Sinai. God told him everything. And the Torah was written, the basics, and then the literature that came later discussed all the details of everything. And over it says you sew the with Gidim with the sinews of a kosher animal, and that's how you close the tefillin. No glue and no plaster. One person said they use baby powder mixed with paint, and it makes like a mud, and they put all kinds of stuff. Your grandfather's tefillin didn't have baby powder in it.
Right.
So you have to try to keep to the basics. And the best thing is that whenever you buy tefillin and mezuzahs, you tell the person, I'm immediately giving it to another sefer to check. That goes for me also. And at the time that other person says they're kosher, then we'll consider it a sale.
Nice. So make that a condition.
Yeah. And also it's good if you can arrange that you should stand over the sefer when he's checking it, tefillin and mezuzahs. And you don't get them done that often that you can't find a mutual time between the two of you to be able to stand over.
What's the benefit of that?
First of all, it's a learning experience, especially if you take your children or child or bar mitzvah boy. It's a learning experience. And the second thing is,
there's no monkey business when you're standing there.
I was in the Holy Torah davening at one point in time, and one of the Bachrim came over to me and told me that he brought his tefillin to one of the establishments on Kingston Avenue, and told him that I want it written. Any touch-ups you make has to be with a feather. That wasn't the person's usual instrument of work. So he said, well, I'm going to have to charge him more money because it takes longer. So he came to me and said, what should I do? So I told him, you should tell him you'll pay him the more money, but you want to stand over him. Why did I say that? If a person uses a feather every day, it doesn't take longer, and if it does, that's just the way you're supposed to do it. So you can't say, just put in 2 parshas because you save time that way. It has to have certain requirements. But he's not going to risk $1,000 pair of parshas for the sake of making another $10. If he's not used to using a feather, he's not going to chance it because you're giving him another few bucks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's showing that that's not what they use. So I told him, but tell him you want to stand over him.
And he didn't agree.
I didn't hear the end of the story.
So you're saying safe for him, write with these pens, not only check.
Yeah, there was one of the famous ones on Kingston Avenue when he started out, his original advertisement said that he used the rapidograph pens, but he uses kosher ink. Later on, he realized that there's flack to it, so he changed. But the first advertisement said that he uses it. It's a common thing, and just the idea, for ourselves, we don't need a bigger source than the Rebbe said. And the Rebbe said he's not a posek and doesn't answer. He's not the rabbinical authority to be the last word in halacha. The Rebbe could say that. We don't say that. You say the Rebbe said something. That's it.
And you heard from Rabbi Zerkin that the Rebbe said this. Okay, so that's very informative. So shukayach for that, and thank you for sharing so much about the Rebbe, about the Rebbetzin. I'm sure that people will have hana and it will benefit them, and the main thing is that we should give the Rebbe and the Rebbetzin the matanas that they want to add in our Torah and our mitzvahs, and to give the Rebbe and Rebbetzin nachas.
I mean, that goes on everybody. And like we say, when it came time from Yetzias Mitzrayim to go out from Egypt, it says that Moshe led the men out and Miriam led the ladies out. So it should be now me. Deborah should take us all out of Golos, and Deborah's and the ladies, or however the exact procedure will work. That means they should take us out of Golos into the full Gula now.
Amen. Karim Mamish, thank you.